Welcome to my game of the day for round 8. I must admit, I'm rather late with this clip. There's a lot going on, so I'm just trying to catch up. Anyway, I've selected the game between Carlos Guevara, representing Nicaragua, and Saleh Salem, representing the United Arab Emirates. Now, there's a big rating difference between these players. Guevara is rated 22-18. Well, not a terrible player, against Salem, who is rated currently 25-91. Now, he has made serious progress over the last couple of years. He's had tuition from, for example, Luc van Veli, and probably the most successful player from the UAE. So let's see how this game went. I thought it was interesting to see this game because it shows what can happen when a strong player tries to outwit a weaker player. Well, first of all, I think that's an interesting opening choice from Salem. He's trying to trip White up, so he's hoping that to unbalance the position right from the word go. And Guevara does not react in it very well, I think, with g3. I think the principal move here is to play d5 and enter into a kind of Benoni position. Now, black can choose between b5, e6, g6, but of course it's unbalanced. But Guevara probably has a system in mind with a fianchetto, but this is not appropriate here, because black can already seize the initiative in the centre. And now, if white wants to play like this, then knight b3 is probably a better move. And this is, I would say, this is playable for white, and so on. It's a little bit like a reversed Grunfeld, actually, in some ways. For example, this has been played before, and this is the reason why it might be better to put the knight on b3, at least more dynamic, to advance with the f-pawn. But instead, white came back with the knight. Black claims the centre, and you can see, well, it's just, I don't think black has an advantage yet, but black has some initiative. And here, let me see, white plays b3. b3 looks very tame to me. The move I would like to play is c4, but actually this leads to quite a standard position where actually black has managed to gain a tempo. What would I do here? Perhaps bishop g5, just to trade pieces, to try to create a little bit of pressure on d5. But b3 looks too slow to me. And now I thought Salem's reaction was very interesting. He sensed that white is a kind of a bit of a safety first player. White wants to bring his pieces out in nice regular positions before really embarking on the big conflict in the middle of the board. And well, here of course black could castle. If black wants to do something very sensible, then something like this, that's to protect this pawn. And I think black is slightly better in this position, obviously with a space advantage. But Salem sensed blood. Watch what happens. e4. He drives the knight away from the king side and now plays h5. Very enterprising. While white's king hasn't got so many defenders, he just wants to use the fact that his rook, he hasn't castled yet, use the rook, open the h-file and perhaps get a quick attack.
Players, please take your seats. Spectators, please leave the playing area. Arbiters, please
hang on a second.
Go to your tables.
This is
We will start in 4 minutes.
4 minutes, okay.
Please take your seats.
that was the chief arbiter announcing the start of the round, and you might have heard 4 minutes remaining till the start, so we're probably going to be interrupted again, so let's try and crack on. Now here, white panics. The thing to do, the best way to react against a move like h5 is to counterattack in the middle. c4. Remember, black's king is still in the middle, and attack is the best form of defence. It's not so troublesome, this attack, and I think, you know, white has pressure on the centre here, and, you know, this attack on the king is not breaking through immediately. That's the way to go. You've got to be brave. But instead, white overreacted with h4. This is a huge mistake. The problem is that after this move, knight g4, you can see it, well, playing f3 at any stage is going to open up the king and weaken the g3 pawn. It's just a horrible move. So it's a beautiful knight here, but the other thing is, I mean, there are tactical problems. You know, it might be that black breaks open with g5 and then it gets even worse. Or, after this, well, in fact, there's a tactic. Bishop takes h4. Suddenly, white is in terrible trouble. For example, if pawn takes bishop, queen takes, threatening mate on h2, and here, well, it's forced mate, and this is terribly simple, and so on. Knight e3, or queen g3 actually is even better. Let's go back. Therefore, white thought he might have found a way out. He took first, and then took on e4. Well, let's just see bishop g7. Black has a very good move in this position. Bishop f6.
Players are kindly requested to take their seats.
That's the chief arbiter again.
In 2 minutes.
2 minutes now.
Please
Okay.
take your seats.
So if black plays like this and then just goes h4, well, he's the exchange down, but it's such a crushing attack against the king. But instead, white gave up a piece, and this is even worse. Well, if the queens are exchanged, then black is just a piece up. And if... well, he now took on h4, actually. This was his idea. He was hoping that if queen takes h4, then he can defend against the mate and perhaps create some difficulties with black's king. Actually, even after rook h6, this looks very good for black, but this was white's hope anyway. But after pawn takes bishop, instead of queen takes h4, black actually played queen c7 and won the game. I'm actually going to finish now because I think the arbiter it's just too intrusive. There's no decent defence to queen h2, and f4 loses to this. And mate. I thought it was a very nice demolition by Salem. I'll have a game by a stronger player in my next report. Thanks for bearing with me.